and welcome everyone. It's really nice to be here, and Kirby's going to go first. I jumped the gun.
You're so excited. That's okay. Hello, everyone. I am Kirby that Marta mentioned. Thank you so much for joining our webinar, Boost Your Brain Health. I'm Kirby Bransifort. I'm a registered dietitian and Wegmans nutritionist, and I'll be moderating today's webinar. Please note that the information provided during today's webinar is for educational purposes only. It's not intended as a substitute or replacement for medical advice, medical nutrition therapy, or individualized nutrition counseling. I will be rejoining you at the end to moderate our Q&A, and am now pleased to introduce your presenter, Marta Heumann, registered dietitian and Pennsylvania Division nutritionist here at Wegmans. Take it away, Marta.
Thank you very much, and hello and welcome everyone. It's really nice to be here with you today. I imagine you're here because you have some interest in the health of your brain. But what is brain health? It's not something I think we routinely think about like we do for heart health or gut health and that sort of thing. So the National Institute of Aging of the NIH defines brain health as all about making the most of your brain and helping reduce some risks to it as you age. And since we are all getting older by the minute, let's spend some time together today talking about how we can keep our brains healthy for the future. So, the brain is one of the most important and metabolically active organs in our bodies. And this simply means it's using a larger portion of the resources we give it than our other organs do. And it really plays a crucial role in how we think, how we feel, and how we behave. So taking care of our brain health should be one of our top priorities, and nutrition is a key factor in achieving this. And our brains require specific fuel, and they need nutrients to function correctly. And a lack of these can really lead to a decline in our cognitive function and an increased risk of developing neurological disorders. So let's really talk about the steps we can take to fuel our brains with the energy and the nutrients it needs. And let's start that with energy. Your brain really needs fuel, and it functions best when that fuel is glucose, which you may know comes from carbohydrates. So eating a balanced diet that includes a variety of carbs like you see here, the fruits and vegetables, whole grains, the beans and legumes, and the nuts and seeds, they're going to provide our brains with those crucial carbs. Our brains also need several key nutrients to keep strong and humming. And let's start with fats, so omega-3 fats to be exact. They are the healthy, unsaturated fats, and they play an important role in developing babies' brains. So when a woman is pregnant, it is really important that she eats enough foods with omega-3 fats in them so the baby's brain can develop. And then even after the baby is born, up for the first few years of life, crucial for these omega-3 fats for the kids as well. They are the building block of cell membranes. That might not be understandable, but it means it performs a structural role. Kind of like a house needs bricks and walls to stand, the brain couldn't really exist without these omega-3 fats. They also play an important role in communication pathways between our brain cells, and they may support memory, they may slow cognitive decline, and they may be anti-inflammatory. So very good reasons to include omega-3 fats in our diets. There's also a host of micronutrients that are key for our brain health. We know they're directly involved in the brain health. For example, there's really just several vitamins that we get from the food we eat that you might be familiar with. Vitamin B12, folate, which is also B vitamin. Those are really essential for cognition and making energy in our brains. And then we have vitamins D, E, and C, and they also play a role in cognition. And then we have the minerals, zinc, copper, selenium, magnesium, and iron. And they're important for making neurotransmitters, which are those chemical messengers that carry messages from one nerve to the next. And they play an important role in this communication pathways between our brain cells. So just like omega-3s are important for these neurotransmitters, so are these minerals. And then there are also plant compounds that you might not be as familiar with, choline, lutein, and other flavonoids. They may play a brain protective role because of their antioxidant activity, and they also have anti-inflammatory properties. And choline and lutein are important for memory and learning, and they are among the most underconsumed nutrients emerging in the spotlight for brain health and also cognition. So it's really important we eat foods with those plant compounds in them as well. Now, in summary, these key nutrients, they work together. They may help slow down cognitive and memory decline. They may decrease inflammation, and they may fight free radicals that can damage our brain cells. That's what an antioxidant is. It's fighting these free radicals. And this overview, it's really not meant to encourage anyone to try and manage their nutrient intake. We can get these nutrients and support brain health by practicing an overall brain healthy eating approach. This slide just really helps set the stage for that conversation. Now, supplements might be something that your healthcare provider recommends, for example, maybe to correct deficiency in one of these micronutrients you see here, or maybe you're not able to get your omega-3s needs met through food. So we always recommend you talk to your healthcare provider before taking any supplements. But the good news is that it is possible to get these nutrients and support your brain health by practicing an overall brain healthy eating approach, which I'm going to talk about next. So we've all heard that fruits and veggies, they promote good health. Well, it's actually berries and leafy greens that are the standouts for brain health. And berries are in season right now, so it's a great time to eat fresh, like the blueberries and the strawberries you see here. But you can also find them in our produce department. Right now in Southeast PA where I live, it's peak blueberry season, so there's lots of people out picking berries. But it's also really nice to keep frozen berries on hand, like you see here in these packages. They're great for the rest of the year, and I really love them on my morning cereal, to make in yogurt parfaits, that sort of thing. And of course, fresh berries make for great snacks. And there's pretty compelling research that shows that berries slow cognitive decline, and that leafy greens may slow, or leafy greens like these collards that you see here, spinach, kale, the others, mustard greens, that sort of thing. They may slow brain aging and lower the risk of dementia and cognitive decline. Now, researchers don't know precisely why this is. Is it the flavonoids, those compounds found in plants that may act as antioxidants or be anti-inflammatory? Is it some of the B vitamins like B12 or the folate? Maybe it's the vitamin E found in many leafy greens. Really more studies need to be done to answer these questions, but the bottom line, we don't really need to know exactly why they're helping in order to know that it's really a good idea to look for ways to enjoy these foods. So if we talk about the large variety of produce that we have in our produce section, the collards you see here, plus all the others that come in bunches like this, I really like these cubes of various and a variety of greens like this kale, spinach, and chard. I like it that there's a mix in there. We have mixes of others too, all the comes in one pack. And these can be eaten raw, or you can cook them, which is a really nice way to use up the greens when you intended to eat them fresh, but they're getting maybe a little droopy. And so that's a good time to cook them and use them as a side dish, or, throw them in a casserole, something like that. And it's also really convenient to keep these frozen bags like this one here of kale and spinach on hand. They're really great to throw in soups and stews. You can add them to casseroles and to pasta dishes whenever you don't have the fresh on hand to add in. My freezer's never empty of frozen greens and frozen berries. I have them in there all the time. Now, those omega-3 foods that we talked about earlier, those come mainly from foods like the fattier fish, salmon, mackerel, anchovies, sardines, and herring. And a good way to remember those, because I know which one was it that has the more fat in it. It spells SMASH, the acronym SMASH: salmon, mackerel, anchovies, sardines, and herring. Makes it easy to remember. And these are beneficial for memory and cognitive function. And really nice at Wegmans, we have fish in many areas of our stores. In the calf area, we have like this pre-cooked teriyaki black pepper salmon with veggies. In the frozen department, we have these farm-raised, individually packaged salmon fillets. You can take out as many as you need for a meal. And then we also have jarred and canned anchovies, mackerel, sardines, for example, that are quite tasty. If you haven't ever tried canned or jarred fish, or you haven't in a long time, I would encourage you to give these a try again and see what you think. They have sometimes a bad reputation, but they are really delicious, and I think you might like them. So eggs. Eggs contain a good amount of both choline and lutein, and our organic large brown, cage-free large brown eggs you see here in this picture, those are also contain omega-3 fats because it's added to the chicken feed. So you're getting the benefits of the choline and the lutein and the omega-3 fats. So it's 3 really great reasons to eat those particular eggs. Is the benefit of all these foods due to the omega-3s? Is it the other specific nutrients, or is it the plant compounds? It's really most likely a combination of the variety of nutrients and plant compounds that support our brain function, really coming together in a package that impacts brain health in a really positive way. And this is particularly because the research has focused on regular intake of these foods and how they impacted brain health, not their isolated nutrients. These foods are all part of an eating pattern called the MIND diet, which you may have heard of. That's MIND. It's been studied and shown to support brain health and protect the brain from cognitive decline. And I have a slide on that coming up. But before I talk more about the MIND diet, I really wanted to share with you some resources that we have online where you can find more information on brain health. So if you go to our wegmans.com/feelyourbest page, this is the landing page that you'll get to. If you scroll a little bit further down on that page, you're going to get to balanced meals and nutrition. And on that, right underneath that, there's a section whole body health. Click on that, and that'll take you to our whole body health page, where there's just a slew of information that's really interesting to read, including this information on brain health. So you click on the Learn More for Brain Health, and that takes you to our brain health page, where you'll learn the things that I've said today, but there's even more information in there on that page. And then there's a really nice and informative video from Kirby. So definitely check those out when you get a chance. Now, back to the MIND diet. The MIND diet is short for, are you ready? Mediterranean Intervention for Neurodegenerative Delay. Say that 3 times fast. We'll even say it 1 time slow. It's really complicated. That's why we call it the MIND diet. It's a blend of the Mediterranean and the DASH diets, and it has been shown to offer a lot of benefits for brain health. Studies have shown this diet may slow down the loss of brain function and decrease the risk of developing Alzheimer's disease and dementia. And the Mediterranean diet emphasizes plant foods like fruits and veggies, whole grains, beans, and other legumes and nuts and seeds. It also includes moderate amounts of fish, it's good for those omega-3s, and low amounts of red and processed meats. And the DASH diet, which stands for Dietary Approaches to Stop Hypertension, again, why we call it DASH, it's complicated to say, is really also, it's really a heart-healthy diet that also emphasizes plant foods, and it's rich in nutrients that help lower blood pressure. And you may be wondering, why are we talking about blood pressure for brain health? Well, high blood pressure is actually a risk factor for Alzheimer's disease and for stroke. So it's important to follow eating habits that help maintain healthy blood pressure levels. And the MIND diet, with its combo of these 2 diets, the Mediterranean and the DASH, it really gives you the best of both worlds, specifically targeting brain and your cognitive health, because you're really incorporating foods that are rich in antioxidants from the plants and the fish. And these foods can really help fight inflammation, reduce the oxidative stress. That's what those antioxidants are doing, and really promote healthy blood pressure levels. And research has shown that the impact of the MIND diet on dementia and Alzheimer's is more significant than that of either the Mediterranean or the DASH diets alone. And if you're interested in trying the Mind Diet, there are many resources available to help you get started. There's cookbooks, there's websites, and there's even some smartphone apps that can help you make healthy choices and really track your progress. So I would encourage you, if you're interested in this, to just do a search on your browser, and you'll come up with lots of information. Now, while nutrition clearly plays a role in brain health, we want to think about the larger context of lifestyle factors that work together to impact your brain health. And the Cleveland Clinic has put together these 6 pillars of brain health, and we're going to go over those. So while you certainly don't need to be perfect in order to reap the benefits of a healthy lifestyle, it's really a good idea to consider your daily habits. What do you do on a regular basis regarding these 6 areas? Is there room to improve? Well, let's take a look. So this first pillar, food and nutrition, for all the reasons that we just talked about. Now, is there something small you can do to start eating more of those foods, like more berries, more greens, more fish, eggs that are really closely connected to brain health? I hope so. The second is some physical activity, which really has several benefits to brain health. You're pumping more oxygen to the brain, and that aids in the release of hormones, which provides an excellent environment for the growth of brain cells. So could you benefit from maybe some small increases in your physical activity? Maybe you could add some strength training, lift some weights, do some resistance training, maybe some cardio, like taking a brisk walk, a jog, a swim, a bike ride, something like that. Add those to your week maybe. It's really never too late, because believe it or not, even an older brain is capable of creating these new brain cells, which support signaling in the brain as we age. And then the third pillar is medical health. And that really just means to monitor and manage any conditions or diseases you have, and maybe get all the recommended screenings to stay on top of what is happening with you, what's happening with you medically, like maybe a colonoscopy, the mammogram, your physical exam, that sort of thing. Make sure you're keeping up with those. The fourth pillar is your mental fitness. The Alzheimer's Association has a slogan, maintain your brain. Because challenging yourself mentally, like doing crossword puzzles, that sort of thing, those may improve brain function and promote new cell growth, which decreases your likelihood of developing dementia. So do you have opportunities to introduce some of these mental exercises to improve your mental fitness? Those apps that I mentioned about the Mind Diet, several of those do have some mental fitness exercises built into them. So that's another reason to look for those apps. The fifth pillar is sleep and relaxation. Sleep helps you think. You can think more clearly, you have quicker reflexes, you can focus better, and sleep deprivation affects your blood pressure and your cardiovascular health, which can affect your brain health. So it's really recommended that adults get 7 to 8 hours of sleep each night. And then the final pillar is social interaction. And I think of these as me and we time. For the me time, are you able to unwind? Do you have strategies to manage stress? Are you able to enjoy quality sleep? And then for the we time, do you have connections with your social circle that keeps you engaged with your family, your friends, your peers, in your community? Now, these healthy lifestyle habits, they're a powerful way to support your brain health, in addition to the numerous other areas of physical and emotional well-being that they can really help. So I want to challenge you to really focus on one of these pillars each month till the end of the year. And then by the start of the new year, you're going to be well on your way to improving your brain health. So in conclusion, got one more slide here. I have some takeaways. We've learned that to keep your brains thinking, feeling, and behaving at their best, we really should try and make healthy choices, like including plenty of berries, green leafy veggies, plus some fish and eggs, and adopting a healthy pattern of eating, like the Mind diet, or regularly consuming a variety of plant foods and seafood, really to support your brain health. And know that lifestyle factors are within our control and they are key to brain health. And please keep in mind, it's not all or nothing. Start small. Try and incorporate a couple of these tips, some of these foods that we talked about, some of the lifestyle pillars that I've talked to you about today. And that's going to keep your brain healthy and sharp for years to come. And that is it. So I am going to come back with Kirby and stop sharing my slides. And we're going to take any questions that you might have. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marta. And we see some clapping hands. So I think you've hit a home run. And we've got a little bit of time here to answer some really great questions that we have that folks sent along. So want to start with one about inflammation that we got. You mentioned inflammation a few times and the foods that help to decrease it, but what exactly does it mean when you say reduce inflammation in the brain?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. So, well, let me start by saying that we all have experienced acute inflammation. That's a defense mechanism. It's in response to cutting a finger, for example. Our bodies use that to start healing, to heal a cut. It's what causes the area around the cut to be red and warm and maybe even swollen. And this is a good thing because those inflammatory cells, they're what helps fighting off the infection and helping heal the cut. Chronic inflammation, on the other hand, is the type I've been talking about here today with brain health. This occurs when that inflammatory response, it goes awry, and the immune system just continues to pump out those white blood cells and those other messengers that really prolongs the process. And it's like stress and chronic disease, those are two reasons this can happen. Really, basically, the immune system just keeps fighting indefinitely. It just can cause the white blood cells that we're healing to really attack healthy tissues that don't need to be healed. And then when in the brain, it can cause cognitive and even behavioral symptoms. So what can we do about it? Well, eating foods high in antioxidants, and those that help and reduce inflammation, the berries, the dark leafy green vegetables, plus getting a regular exercise, they're going to help lower this chronic inflammation, which is why it's important to make them part of your diet.
Great. Thank you. Fabulous. Another really good question, and I'll actually answer this one because I actually feel a little passionate about this. Does lettuce count? Our friend lettuce, does it count as a leafy green? So for those of you that have ever had this question, it does count as a leafy green when we talk about number of servings of leafy greens. I think on the Mind diet, it's something like 6 per week. And that would include all leafy greens. Of course, we know that the darker the leafy green, the more of those plant compounds and antioxidants are there. But lettuce does certainly count. And I say I'm passionate because I always am the defender of our friend iceberg lettuce, even, especially because it could be what I would call a vehicle, right, for some other plants that have those protective compounds. It could be a source of or a base for your leafy green salad with berries and things like that. So it does count, and you should feel really great about enjoying it as part of your brain healthy pattern of eating. So hopefully that helps you folks who are wondering that. The next question we have, I think, Marta, you and I can both related to what someone called mommy brain. How about the so-called mommy brain? Is this really a thing? Is there anything pregnant moms and moms of young kids can do about it? Please say yes.
Well, yeah, this struggle is real. I mean, my kids are grown now, but I can still remember, and I know you have little kids, so you know exactly. I remember what it's like when I was pregnant and when I was mom. The term mommy brain, that's been used in jest for a long time, but there actually have been studies that have shown that there are several areas of the brain that really undergo really significant changes during pregnancy and after you've had the baby. Some evidence even suggests that during pregnancy, women experience a decrease in brain volume in areas like your verbal memory. You know that you can't think of the word, like you're holding something in your hand and you can't think, or you want to ask a question and you can't think of the word. It's so real. It's just frustrating. But keep in mind that a woman's brain has made just a remarkable adaptation, and the brain is reshaping to prepare them for this enormous task of parenting. And there are studies that have shown that there is a boost of learning and an improvement in long-term memory overall. More research needs to be done, but I think we're going to they're eventually going to get to what we're going to exactly do about it. But what we can do about it right now is just try to focus on those pillars: the nutrition, exercise, sleep, the me time, and see if that helps.
Yeah, that's great advice, especially because we know the demands on our time are so great. So really taking the time to focus. I love your challenge of focusing on one of those pillars just to feel some success around that. So thank you. Another question came from a couple of folks. What do you think about the brain supplements? And someone specifically said those that are advertised so frequently, but in general, what are your thoughts on those?
Yeah, that's another great question, because they're absolutely right. There's so many ways these companies are trying to get you to buy their supplements. I think the most important thing to say is that it's really best practice to always ask your healthcare provider before taking any supplement. Even if it's a vitamin or mineral, you just please always ask. There could be a contraindication for some people. They might also interfere with some other medications that you might be taking, so always ask. Otherwise, I could say, like, if somebody asks me a question, and there's so many of them, I mean, none of us can keep track of them all, so we tend to have to look them up too. But if you want to do your own research, I'll tell you, I really like to look up these products on a couple of websites. There's the Office of Dietary Supplements, and then there's the Sloan Kettering's website. If you go onto them and you search for whatever supplement you're taking, you can, get a little informed yourself and then have some info about them before you go to the doctor and ask them.
Great. That's perfect. Thank you. And someone asked us, when you talk about the fruit to include in the diet, does it matter if it's dried or fresh fruit? What are your thoughts on that?
As far as nutrition would go, I think you can check me on this, Kirby. I'm going to say it doesn't matter if it's fresh or dried. Dried fruit, of course, you have to, there's a lot more energy in a dried fruit. It's a lot easier to eat 10 raisins than it is to eat 10 grapes, for example, that sort of thing. But they have the same nutrients, I'd say.
Yes. And I'll check you on that and confirm that it is true. And if you go to the USDA's website, choosemyplate.gov, it will give you more information on what counts as a serving of fruits and also vegetables. And of course, dried fruits, fresh, frozen, canned are all included in there, and it will give you some guidance. And lastly, we have time for just one more question, and I'm going to go ahead and answer it because I can. And it's a pretty easy one. How important is water? So it almost doesn't matter, I think, what topic we're talking about. It's super important. So essential to all of your body's functioning. It supports all of our processes, including our cognitive function and brain health. So definitely important to stay hydrated, and you can do so just by most healthy adults drinking when you're thirsty. So I think that's really all time we have to get to our questions, because I think we have about less than 30 seconds. So I think we'll go ahead and end it here, and thank our presenter, Marta, so much for all of this wonderful information. And for those of you who want to learn more, you can visit wegmans.com/feelyourbest. We have all sorts of wonderful information there as a reminder on brain health as well as whole body health, because it is all connected. So thank you again to all of you. Thank you, Marta, and we wish you all well and that you feel your best.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.